My ex turned my life into a psychological horror by making everyone think I had a twin. Her real plan left me speechless. I, 28M, never thought I'd be writing this, but I need to get this off my chest and maybe get some advice. The past month has been absolute hell, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around how someone could go to such lengths just to destroy someone's life. It started with whispers. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and conversations suddenly stop? That became my daily reality at the tech startup where I've worked for the past 3 years. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe I was being paranoid. But then the strange emails started coming in from colleagues about incidents I had no memory of. About your behavior at yesterday's client meeting. One read, I hadn't attended any client meeting that day. I was working from home. Your comments at lunch were completely inappropriate. I'd been eating alone at my desk all week. The accusations got worse. HR called me in about harassment complaints. Multiple people claimed I'd made inappropriate comments in the break room, sent aggressive emails, and even showed up drunk to morning meetings. But I had alibis for most of these times. I was either working remotely or in documented meetings with other teams. I thought I was losing my mind until a junior developer pulled me aside. She looked nervous, glancing over her shoulder before speaking. I think you should know. There's someone who looks exactly like you walking around the office sometimes. At first, I thought it was you, but I saw them here last Thursday when you were presenting in the all-hands meeting on Zoom. That's when everything clicked. My ex-girlfriend. We'd broken up 6 months ago after I discovered she'd been lying about pretty much everything in her life, her job, her family background, even her education. When I confronted her, she didn't show remorse or try to explain. She just stared at me with this cold, empty look and said, "You have no idea what I'm capable of." I didn't think much of it then. People say dramatic things during breakups, right? But now I remembered something else. During our relationship, she'd often talked about her fascination with lookalikes and doppelgangers. She'd shown me videos of professional impersonators and mentioned how amazing it was that someone could completely copy another person's mannerisms and appearance. The pieces started falling into place. She'd always been obsessed with my work, asking detailed questions about my colleagues, the office layout, and our security protocols. I thought she was just interested in my life. Now I realized she'd been gathering intelligence. I started documenting everything. Set up recording software on my laptop to timestamp my working hours. Asked colleagues to confirm my whereabouts in writing. But the damage was already spreading. Clients were pulling out of deals, citing my erratic behavior. My manager, despite having known me for years, was becoming distant. The final straw came when someone claiming to be me showed up at our biggest client's office, had a complete meltdown, and threatened their CEO. I was at home with a documented paper trail of online meetings when it happened, but the client's security footage showed someone who looked exactly like me, wearing clothes I owned, down to a small coffee stain on the left sleeve of my favorite blue shirt. That's when I realized how deep this went. She hadn't just hired a lookalike. She'd studied me for months during our relationship, noting every detail, every mannerism, every piece of clothing. She'd created a perfect copy to systematically destroy everything I'd built. I went to the police, but they seemed skeptical. After all, what evidence did I have besides circumstantial connections? The security footage showed me behaving badly. Multiple witnesses confirmed my presence. It was my word against a mountain of evidence suggesting I was either lying or having some kind of mental break. Now I'm sitting here, watching my career implode, my reputation in tatters, and wondering how to fight back against someone who's managed to create a perfect duplicate of my life just to tear it down. The worst part? I know this is just the beginning. My ex was always methodical, patient, and thorough. This is her revenge, served not cold, but with calculated precision. I need advice. How do you prove your innocence when there's someone out there being you better than you can? Update. Things have escalated beyond what I could have imagined. After my last post, several of you suggested setting up my own surveillance and gathering evidence. I took your advice, but what I discovered was even more disturbing than I expected. I started by installing a dash cam in my car and wearing a small body camera disguised as a pen. I also set up security cameras outside my apartment. For 2 weeks, nothing unusual happened. Then last Tuesday, my neighbor texted me asking why I was pacing in the parking lot at 3 a.m., muttering to myself. I checked my security footage. The video showed someone who looked exactly like me, wearing my old college hoodie, walking back and forth in the parking lot. The mannerisms were uncanny. The way they ran their hand through their hair, the slight limp from my old soccer injury. This person had studied me for months, maybe years. But here's where it gets really messed up. I started going through old photos and videos from when I was dating my ex. In the background of several group shots, there was always this person, barely noticeable, watching me. Different locations, different times, but the same nondescript face. My ex had been planning this for a long time, having someone study me long before our breakup. I took the footage to my company's HR department, thinking this would finally prove my innocence. Instead, they placed me on indefinite administrative leave. Apparently, the night before, I had accessed the office at 2 a.m. and deleted several important client files. The security footage showed me using my keycard, entering my correct password, and navigating our systems with perfect familiarity. My ex hadn't just hired a lookalike. She'd found someone who could become me completely. The police still won't take me seriously. They suggested I might need professional help to deal with the stress of work. I tried confronting my ex directly. I waited outside her workplace. She walked right past me, then stopped and turned with this small, knowing smile. "Having trouble at work?" she asked, then added, "It's funny how people only see what they expect to see." Before I could respond, she was gone. That night, I received an email from an anonymous account. It contained photos of me sleeping in my apartment, taken from inside. The message read, "You replaced me with lies. Now lies will replace you." I finally understood. During our relationship, she had caught me in a lie. A stupid, small lie about having dinner with an old friend who happened to be a woman. I had apologized, tried to explain that nothing happened, but she never brought it up again. I thought she'd moved past it. I was wrong. In her mind, that one lie had invalidated everything about me, and now she was methodically invalidating my entire existence. The lookalike isn't just destroying my professional life anymore. They're building relationships with my friends, showing up at my favorite places, slowly taking over every aspect of my life. People have started asking me why I'm acting different when they see the real me. My own mother called asking if I was okay because I had visited her last week and seemed off. I haven't seen my mother in person for over a month. I'm writing this from a motel room because I don't feel safe in my apartment anymore. I've started questioning every memory of my relationship. Were there signs I missed? How long had she been planning this? How many people are involved in this elaborate scheme to erase and replace me? The worst part is, I'm starting to understand her twisted logic. She's not just trying to ruin my life. She's trying to prove a point about identity and truth. If someone can perfectly replicate every aspect of your life, are you still you? If everyone believes the fake version over the real one, what does that say about authenticity? I need to end this somehow, but I'm running out of options. The lookalike keeps getting better, more precise, more convincing. They're not just copying me anymore. They're improving on me, becoming a more likable, more successful version of myself. How do you fight against someone who's better at being you than you are? Final update. I didn't expect to be writing this update, but after everything that's happened in the past week, I need to share how this nightmare finally ended. The truth turned out to be even more twisted than I imagined. After my last post, I hit rock bottom. I was sleeping in my car, using public Wi-Fi, and watching my bank account drain. The lookalike had somehow convinced HR to redirect my salary to a different account. My friends had stopped responding to my calls. Apparently, I had already called them ranting about conspiracy theories. Then I received another anonymous email. "Tomorrow, 8 p.m., Carlo's coffee shop. Come see yourself." I knew it was probably a trap, but I was desperate. I arrived early, parked across the street, and waited. At exactly 8 p.m., I watched myself walk into the coffee shop. Not the lookalike, an actual recording of me from 6 months ago, playing on the cafe's TV. It was security footage from my first date with my ex. I walked inside. The cafe was empty except for two people, my ex and a man I'd never seen before. He looked nothing like me. My ex smiled that same cold smile and gestured for me to sit. "Confused?" she asked. "You should be. There was never any lookalike." She pulled out her phone and showed me videos, dozens of them. Security footage, social media posts, photos. In each one, the lookalike looked slightly different. Sometimes taller, sometimes with different colored eyes, sometimes with completely different features. "People see what they expect to see," the man next to her said. He was a psychology professor at the local university. "Your ex-girlfriend was my star student 5 years ago. Her thesis was on perception manipulation and mass delusion." Everything started falling into place. She hadn't hired a lookalike. She'd orchestrated a massive gaslighting campaign. She'd used social engineering, carefully planted suggestions, and people's natural tendency to doubt their own memories. The lookalike was actually multiple different people, each one only barely resembling me. But because she had primed everyone to expect strange behavior from me, they filled in the gaps themselves. The late-night office incident? A hired temp with basic computer knowledge and a generic keycard clone. The client meeting meltdown? A paid actor who looked vaguely similar from a distance. The photos of me sleeping? Photoshopped. She had created a web of small deceptions that, together, formed a convincing larger lie. "You lied to me once," she said. "I wanted to show you how easy it is to make people believe anything." How fragile trust really is. I sat there, stunned, as she laid out her entire plan. She'd spent months setting it up, using her background in psychology and her connections in the tech world. She had manipulated timestamps, planted false memories, and used people's own biases against them. The security footage, the witness accounts, even the physical evidence, all carefully crafted illusions. The best part, she added, this conversation isn't really happening either. I blinked, and the cafe was empty. No ex-girlfriend, no psychology professor. Just an envelope on the table with USB drive. The footage on it proved everything. Her network of actors, the manipulated evidence, the carefully orchestrated deceptions. She had given me the key to clearing my name, but also proof of how completely she had controlled every aspect of my reality for months. The police are involved now, for real this time. My company's IT team found traces of the digital manipulation. The actors she hired have come forward, some of them not even realizing they were part of a larger scheme. My reputation isn't completely repaired, but at least people know they were manipulated. My ex hasn't been seen since that night at the cafe. The psychology professor she mentioned? He died 3 years ago. I checked the university records. She had never been his student. It was one final lie wrapped in a revelation wrapped in another lie. The investigation is ongoing, but they might never find her. In a way, she proved her point about truth and perception. She didn't need a perfect lookalike to make people doubt reality. She just needed to understand how easily people's minds fill in the gaps when given the right prompts. I'm still processing everything. Some nights, I wake up and check the security cameras, half expecting to see myself standing in the parking lot. Sometimes at work, I catch people giving me uncertain looks, like they're not quite sure if I'm really me. The scariest part? I'm not sure I would have noticed if our roles were reversed. We all think we know what's real, what's true. But sometimes, the biggest lies are the ones we tell ourselves about how well we really know the people in our lives, and how well we know ourselves.